Okay, in this video we're gonna talk real quick. How can you improve the way how you get into your back hip? I recently have a couple guys trying to improve that part of their swing, the way how they work during their load, especially from the regular stance. I often see some players having trouble with either getting stuck with their backside, either putting so much tension or weight on that backside, and causing problem with them to stay connected to the ground, just because they have that feeling of like being so close from the ground and putting so much weight on the backside, because some coach told him that that's the best way how you can stay back and swing the bat better. Um, we have to realize something. When we about to swing the bat, at some point we have to transfer some weight from one leg to the other. So let me start with the way how I seen amateur hitters getting in trouble with their backside. I see guys either from the regular stance putting so much weight and being so close from the ground early on, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But when you start working so close from the ground and putting so much weight on the back leg, especially if you're playing more into like the small size of baseball, if you're not one of the stronger guys on your team, if you just weigh 170 pounds wet, the chances are that you need to create some sort of momentum. Something that I often talk to my players, especially when they in the small side of baseball. It's like if you watch the big leagues, and if you watch some guys like Jose Altuve, Simeon, some guys, Mookie Betts, some guys who are not the strongest or bigger players on their team, they all have something in common. They create big movements, they super athletic, flexible, and the way how they know how to work, but the way how they consistent, trusting their instincts. No meaning that guys like Josh or Giancarlo Stanton or Bryce Harper are not athletic at all. They extremely athletic too as well, but it's a lot easier when you weigh 220 pounds and you're 6'4", 6'5", and you get rewarded when you get jam and hit the ball to the opposite side and you still get a home run, that when you weigh 170 pounds, 180 pounds, and I don't know, you're 5'10" or 5'11". That was the type of hitter, the type of player who I was. As you can tell, I'm not by any means one of the biggest or strongest guys that you ever seen. I was pretty average. Going back to the way how you're supposed to load with that back hip, what I often try to preach to my players is when they start with the regular stance, either way, if they like to start super wide or super narrow, I highly recommend to start working with like some sort of like posture or position that they relax, where, or meaning that their trunk is not so close from the ground like this, where even before they work when their negative move, then their positive move to load and land into the launch position, they feel stuck on the backside just because from at the beginning of their swing, they put so much pressure on the backside. And the only way how they can get out of that position is pushing out of the ground. Otherwise, they'll feel like they're getting beat with a fastball and they don't have any other option. If you pay attention to guys like Harper, to guys like Mookie Betts, Jose Altuve, even if they completely different players, they have something in common. They start from a really relaxed position where they feel comfortable, where they feel they can repeat the swing based on that posture, based on that position. Something that they have in common is like their trunk, their chest is not so low, and they put in so much weight on a single leg like that. In the other hand, I'm not saying you never want to see players who like to work really close from the ground and they start with like a really wide stance. But even though they do not start from the position where they're supposed to be at lunge. What do I mean with that? When they work with their gather, when they work with during their negative move. Remember, negative move is when I start getting my body ready, thinking down. I'm gonna compress, I'm gonna go down and work around on my backside, work around on my back leg. Even if I'm super wide, like guys like Soto, guys like Albert Pujols, who else? Paul Goldschmidt, the first baseman from the Cardinals. They have something in common that even when they're super wide and they start like close from the ground in that position, when they're about to load and engage with that back hip, with their backside, they all put some pressure into the ground, meaning like they start close from the ground, but they work around on that back leg. So as you can see, my head position when I'm doing that movement change. I cannot start with my head this high like this and load and go from the same, or at least that's not what I often see. I'm just telling you on what I often see from the best guys in the league, and something that I see like more, if you're more like into the average size of baseball players, what I often see from that type of players when they create that type of movement. If you like to do a leg kick, you can start from your regular stance. At some point, if my head starts somewhere around here, I want to go down and maintain that position. I do not swing from the same position, from the same level, the same height of my head, from where I start from my regular stance. I need to find the ground first, engaging with that backside, with that back hip, feeling how I'm working down and around on that back leg there in case that I do a leg kick. If you're more into like the simple side, like for example Ohtani, he doesn't do a leg kick. He has a ton of power. He likes to work with that preset, and the way how he engages with that backside is a little different than a regular guy in the big leagues, but it's pretty much the same concept. On his movement forward, when he goes preset and engage with that backside, letting the backside be the leader of that movement forward, of that positive move. It's critical to engage with that back hip. He start kind of tall, then he go down, then that's when he goes with that preset and he start attacking the ball with that positive move. His head level, his head start going down to put pressure into the ground. Remember, the ground is pretty much our power source. If we start pushing off the ground with our feet and our legs, we're pretty much losing the connection and the power from it. We have to use it as a leverage. That's a topic that we can talk in a different video. But some of the drills or the solutions that I personally like to work with my players, and I did during my career, and some of the hitting coaches that I work with, they suggest the drill that you start with your feet together, and you kind of like doing a step back and feel how you work against and around on that back leg, going here and swinging, just to reinforce the way I'm supposed to feel that back hip first, even before I start working with my movement forward, with my positive move. So it's easier for me to be in fully control of the sequence of my swing, of the direction when I'm about to attack the ball. I often try to talk to my players, letting them know, especially from the catcher's view, how these guys in the league are so consistent, working, pretty much feeling how they close that front hip on their movement forward to let the backside to be the driver one more time. That's one of the possible solutions that I have for that drill. Another one too as well, if you want to take some swing from your launch position, and then keep in mind that you want to start when your trunk and your head not so close to the ground, more like into like a relaxed position, somewhere like around here. Remember, you kind of want to start with like a tall position, especially if you feel like you're struggling against high velocity and against a high pitch. If I work with a posture where I position my body, where I'm so close from the ground like this, and I know that we often talk about getting into the athletic and powerful positional launch, but I have to be really smart about the way how I position my body depending on each pitch location each pitch location. I'm gonna attack the pitch different. I want to make sure that when I land into that launch position, I'm gonna be able to cover most part of the plate. So if you start kind of like this, when you leg kick, and you wanna work there toward your launch position, just keep in mind that you wanna work up, down, stay down, then attack. You don't wanna start down to move forward, then to push, then you start like losing the ground instead of staying in the ground to be able to maximize your rotation throughout your swing. If you're a guy who likes to do a toe tap, same thing. Start from your regular stance. You don't have to be so close there. Kind of relax. A good example of that, and you don't have to be as extreme as his. Cody Bellinger, he always has hit the same way how he hit it in the big leagues right now. I played against him when I was playing with the Kansas City Royals in AA, and he started with a really tall posture. From his movement forward, you can see how his head started coming down and getting into that athletic position. Everyone's different. Every hitter is unique. As long as you're consistent, creating a good posture, engaging with that back hip, which that's the main reason why I want you to watch this video. Please keep in mind that I work from the top, then I go to the bottom, then I stay down to be able to attack. I always want to attack from the top, not just with my swing path. I'm not talking about swing path in this video, but I want you to realize and to understand that you have to be relaxed on your regular stance, dude. You need to find your own style where you have a good vision, that you can visualize the picture with both eyes. You're not tense, because if you're tense and you're trying to be quick after that, you're gonna take a lot longer instead of being relaxed and pretty much being that relaxation that you have at the beginning of your swing is gonna help you to adjust and to see the difference from a pitch that you try to swing or not, instead of just being so tense so early during your swing. So again, this is the way how I do it. I was more like a toe tap guy. When I got in trouble with, especially when the high pitch, it was because I was so close from the ground. And I know some of you guys have some two-strike approach where you work a little more simple when you're low half, but the concept is still the same. So let's say if I'm a toe tap guy, for example, and I want to start here, up, then down, then I swing. As you can see, I'm still going with my head. I start this high on my head with my head. When I'm doing my gather when I'm working with my gather, or the way how I engage with that back hip, I'm going down, putting pressure into the ground. I'm on my movement forward. I keep the same level with my head. If I'm gonna do a two-stroke approach, it's the same thing. I just start a little wider. I don't do much with my front foot. I kind of just peel the heel off the ground, but I don't want to start so tense there. A good example of that, I already told you. For example, Soto right now, he doesn't start super into this tall position with his upper body, but he's still working some sort of like working down with that back hip. Then you see how he let that backside lead that movement forward. When you just go in here from the beginning and you're doing your leg kick or toe tap and you don't have any other option to get out of that position that push off the ground, that's when you start dragging everything into the strike zone. Your hands, your bat, and it's gonna be really difficult for your bat over your body to be able to work in front of your body, to be able to have the bat work in front of your body, which essentially that's what we're looking for. If you have any questions about how to get into the backside, this is one episode of the modules that I'm gonna be posting on the app. This is really important to improve your load. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me through the app, to the inbox, or try to also send some of the videos that you work doing these drills and working with these thoughts to be able to improve the way how you get into your backside. See you guys later.